As newly appointed currency commissioner and soon to be president of the Reichsbank, Schacht introduced a new currency, the Rentenmark, which was fixed in value. At an exchange rate of 1 trillion marks for 1 Rentenmark, citizens handed in their entire money supply for a handful of Rentenmarks. Schacht's policies brought an end to the hyperinflation, but only by means of imposing a severe hyperdeflation, designed to further secure the payment of the Versailles reparations. Thus, instead of feeding the monstrous debt with worthless ink on paper, the reparations would now be directly stripped off the backs of the already starved population. In the name of balancing the budget, any type of so-called useless spending was to be cut. Cuts in credit to industries and a dismissal of 397,000 civil servants were accompanied by the enforcement of high taxes and increased union busts. In addition, Schacht's entrance into power was accompanied with the full realization of his long-planned privatization of all German industry. New York and London financial vultures and their international syndicates quickly swept in to pick the bones of what remained of the coal, steel, iron, and chemical industries. Those same industries, under their new foreign controllers, would soon become infamous for their inhuman labor policies.
1775, the American Revolutionary War began as the American colonies sought to detach from England and its oppressive monarchy. Though many reasons are cited for the revolution, one in particular sticks out as the prime cause: that King George III of England outlawed the interest-free, independent currency the colonies were producing and using for themselves, in turn forcing them to borrow money from the Central Bank of England at interest, immediately putting the colonies into debt. And, as Benjamin Franklin later wrote, the refusal of King George III to allow the colonies to operate an honest money system which freed the ordinary man from the clutches of the money manipulators was probably the prime cause of the revolution. In 1783, America won its independence from England. However, its battle against the central bank concept and the corrupt, greed-filled men associated with it had just begun. So what is a central bank? A central bank is an institution that produces the currency of an entire nation. Based on historical precedent, two specific powers are inherent in central banking practice: the control of interest rates and the control of the money supply, or inflation. The central bank does not simply supply a government's economy with money, it loans it to them at interest. Then, through the use of increasing and decreasing the supply of money, the central bank regulates the value of the currency being issued. It is critical to understand that the entire structure of this system can only produce one thing in the long run: debt. It doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to figure this scam out. For every single dollar produced by the central bank is loaned at interest. That means every single dollar produced is actually the dollar plus a certain percent of debt based on that dollar. And since the central bank has the monopoly over the production of the currency for the entire country, and they loan each dollar out with immediate debt attached to it, where does the money to pay for the debt come from? It can only come from the central bank again, which means the central bank has to perpetually increase its money supply to temporarily cover the outstanding debt created, which in turn, since that new money is loaned out at interest as well, creates even more debt. The end result of this system without fail is slavery, for it is impossible for the government and thus the public to ever come out of the self-generating debt. The Founding Fathers